Hello everyone, I'm Laurie Duchek. Thanks for joining us for another one of our video interviews with BC Wildfire Service Information Officer Mike McCulley. Mike, thanks for coming again today and joining us.
Thanks, Laurie.
And today is September 8th, it's Friday. We've got a few things we want to talk about, and I think maybe first off, maybe you could just kind of give us a general overview and touch on the weather.
Yeah, of course, the weather is the story right now. As we've talked about the last few days, Laurie, we've seen relatively calm conditions, lots of smoke, but not much wind, certainly helping our fire suppression activities by keeping the temperatures down, but that is going to change today. Already outside it's a little bit warmer. We can see some blue sky poking through, and that's because there's a change coming. The air is starting to mix up and the smoke is clearing. On top of that, of course, we are going to see some wind, and we've been working hard getting ready for that. We've been focusing our resources where best needed to protect life and property of British Columbians from growth on those fires, but certainly looking at some change over the next few days due to the wind.
Okay, and for people that have been watching our video series so far, we've spent some time talking about weather and its importance. I'm wondering if we can just dial down a little bit more, because the wind is something that we are watching and we've been telling them we're watching. Maybe you can explain sort of the significance in terms of the role that wind plays.
Yeah, certainly. So wind, weather actually in general is a huge factor in fire behavior, wind particularly. And what that does is, as we're seeing today, several things. Wind can really mix up the atmosphere, stir up that smoke and clear off the skies. Again, that causes the sun to get down to the surface of the earth, basically, really warming up the fuels and creating an increase in fire behavior and a decrease in humidity. Humidity is very important for fire suppression. Again, just keeping those surface fuels a little bit damper and allowing our firefighters to get in there as the behavior is low. On top of that, if you think about your campfire, when you're out and you blow on your campfire, the fire flares up, and that's because you're putting oxygen into the fire. Oxygen is another key factor in how fire behaves. So forest fires are wildland fires, forest fires are no different. As you apply wind, you're applying oxygen, it causes the fire to puff, smoke, and increase in fire behavior. And so that's, when we talk about wind causing an increase in fire behavior, these are some of the reasons why. And we also know that with wind and increased fire behavior, we can get embers that spot ahead of the fire and blow up, just like your campfire does. Again, when you blow on it, causes more flame and also causes sparks to pop up. Those are the embers that we're talking about, and we can see those with strong winds carry quite a long ways out ahead of our fire.
So I know sometimes we hear the word spotting or the term spotting used. Is that what you're referring to in that phenomenon when you hear the word spotting?
Yeah, certainly. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about embers picking up, carrying ahead of the main body of the fire, landing in the forest, and the wind's still there. You're blowing now on an ember, and it may cause a new fire. So that's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, and when you have that situation occurring, I know you have specific resources that are sort of tasked with getting on those. Maybe you can talk a little bit about initial attack and what their role is.
Yeah, I'd love to. Very important piece of our organization. We have initial attack crews, usually a 3-person crew stationed across our province strategically. We reallocate them based on where the high risk is. So if we've got a quiet fire center area that has wet conditions, low fire behavior, low chance of a fire starting, we may move some of those crews over to a place like Cranbrook right now, for example. We also put those crews on various levels of standby based on the fire danger rating, the risk, and the risk of a new fire starting. So what they're doing is they're waiting at the base for a new fire to start. We as an organization know that if we can keep a fire small and deal with it very quickly, we have a very great chance of success on the fire. So we do spend a lot of effort on initial attack, and they work in conjunction with our aircraft. We will use air tankers and helicopters to really hit that fire hard and fast at the beginning, try to keep it from growing. These initial attack crews travel in a couple different ways. We have them within helicopters so that they can get out into a fire area very quickly, but of course we can't fly at night, so we also have initial attack crews that are stationed with their trucks. Their trucks are very well equipped. They have all the kit they need in them, pumps and hose, various fire tools, chainsaws, and all the safety gear to go along with that. Those crews are broadly trained in fire suppression. So those are some of the types of initial attack crews that we do use when we're fighting fire. Very important piece, again, getting on those fires quickly and keeping them small is extremely important for British Columbia.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the things that we've been getting certainly on the information line and at our Emergency Operations Center, a lot of calls on, and I really love this community, so it doesn't surprise me at all that we're getting these calls, and that's calls from people saying, how can we help, how can we donate, what do the firefighters need? So what do the firefighters need? Yeah,
it's a really tricky one. So our firefighters within the BC Wildfire Service, both our our own crews and the contract crews that we use, they're fully self-sustaining and contained within themselves. They really don't need anything. And as much as we appreciate their support, they do come with their own meals. If they're in camp, they're fed quite nicely. They have bedding, closed. They're prepared to be out on their own for quite a while, even when they go out on initial attack, and if they have to stay, long stretches in the woods, far from their bed for the night, they're prepared to do that. They're well trained for it. So as much as we really appreciate that support from British Columbians and those offers for help, frankly, one of the things that I've seen that they really like and appreciate the best is just a simple sign saying thank you. But in terms of goods like toiletries and food, we really are appreciative, but we're fine on our own.
Okay, and I remember back in 2003 during the fire season that we had, that all way back then, Cranbrook lit up the town with thank you notes, and I remember one fence in particular, some little children, they were 5 years old, got out the colored chalk and they had a big thank you firefighters on the fence. So maybe this is a challenge to the East Kootenay. Let's show our support by getting out some thank you signs and cards and whatnot for the firefighters to see as they're going by. If you do want to donate, because we have had some people saying, how can we help? At the information line at the EOC 250-426-2188, we can connect you with some resources, some of the local ideas that we have. The CDART team, which is the Canadian Disaster Animal Response Team, totally volunteer driven, totally dependent on volunteer donations. They've got an animal shelter set up right now. They're trying to do their best to help people right now on the ground. Same thing with the Salvation Army locally, helping in a big way. So we've got some resources and we hope you'll give us a call and we can connect you with those. Thanks for joining us. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, again, just really like to thank people. I understand the sentiment is there. We appreciate the support, but again, watching my crews come home at night after a really hard day at work and just seeing them watch the thank you sign goes an awful long way. So just thanks again to the community.
Okay, well that's certainly something that we can strive for here in the East Kootenay, and we'd like to thank you for joining us again for one of our video updates. We will have another one soon, so we hope that you'll stay tuned.